Hi everyone, this is Sadia Ashraf, and we are going to. This is the second part of the Bluemix enablement session, and we covered some of the topics in the first part, like user management, organizations, spaces, things like that, and we also looked at what Bluemix is and what are the different offerings it has in part one. In today's part, we are going to we are going to see how to deploy applications on Bluemix, what are the different options we have, and how to bind a service to a Bluemix application, and things like that. So I'm going to share my desktop. Okay. I hope you can all see my screen. Okay. So last time I hope you guys can now set up your organization and see the different spaces within that organization. You can add team members and things like that. Today we'll go to right now I'm in this particular space. So in this space, I'm going to go back and revisit how we created an app last time. I'm going to walk through the same steps, just kind of a reminder and kind of to get us started today. So today I'm going to just start with the Node.js Cloud and DB web starter. And if you guys remember, boilerplate is something which is like a sort of a sample app and a starting app. It already has a few services binded to it. In this case, the runtime is Node.js, and we already have a service called Clouded NoSQL DB, which is binded to this application. And I can give this app a name. Okay. And another thing that, if you guys remember from last time, was that the app name has to be unique within your organization, whereas the host name needs to be unique throughout the Bluemix environment. So I hope this name is unique enough. And these are the different things we get out of this. And let me create. And this would create a boilerplate application which has a Cloud and DB and a Node.js runtime with it. So my application is starting. If you guys have noticed, Bluemix interface has once again changed in the past 2 days, and I think this is a much neater interface than the one they were experimenting with in between. So this is the getting started page. When you create an application, you see this page, and it says a couple of things like you can use the Cloud Foundry command line interface, you can use Bluemix command line interface, and you have different options on how you can deploy an application. For the time being, I've just created the application through the Bluemix interface. Now, in order to code into it, I have the option of using any editor of my choice and using command line interface to deploy the app to Bluemix. That's the first option. The second option I have is that I can use the Eclipse IDE and use the Bluemix plugin within Eclipse and deploy my app through the Bluemix IDE. And the third option I have is that I can use Git, and within Git I can either use the Git CLI or I can even use the DevOps. We're going to cover DevOps in the third session next week. Today we are going to cover two ways of deploying your application. One is the Cloud Foundry, and the other one is Eclipse. So starting with Cloud Foundry, you can simply go to the Cloud Foundry page and install the package according to your operating system. Once you do that, you will be able to see it in your terminal window. Let me open my terminal. So this is my terminal, and if I want to check if I've deployed Cloud Foundry correctly, let me write CF help, and these are the different topics it shows, and which kind of means that my Cloud Foundry is there and it's running. So now, what I can do is, from this point onwards, what I can do is I can create an app, and I can use any programming language, and I can use the build pack with it, and I can deploy it through Cloud Foundry to my Bluemix. For the time being, I'm going to use a little bit of a hack, and that is that since I've created this application through Bluemix, I'm just going to download the starter code for it. And I'm going to assume that this was the code that I wrote, which is just the starting point. And so I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and I am going to, for the time being, I will delete this app from here. And whenever you delete an app, you can choose to delete the services that came with it, and you can choose whether you want to delete the routes that came with it or not. If, for example, some other application is using this database service, then you should uncheck. However, if you want to delete this service along with this app, you should select these options. And so I've deleted the app. Now, the point is that within my experiment space, there is no app which has the name Sadia Webinar Part 2 Test. And now I'm going to deploy the same app through Cloud Foundry. So wherever you have downloaded the app, just copy it, put it in your disk space. Okay, so these were some things that I was experimenting with before. I'm just going to remove them for the time being. So this is the app that I've just downloaded, the starter code, and if I open this, you see some of these things. Now, this was a Node.js app. So a Node.js app has an app.js, which is the starting point of the application. And since this was downloaded from a boilerplate, it already comes with some code which kind of uses the CloudEnt DB to do some simple operations. And two more things that are within this app folder are the package.json that kind of contains the metadata about the app and the dependencies that need to be downloaded by NPM in order for this app to run. And the other one is the manifest YAML file. This YAML file contains the memory that the app needs, the name, host name, and any services with which this app needs to bind to. So these are the two main files that you need to make sure are in your folder if you're going with Node.js. And once we have these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Cloud Foundry to push this app. And again, I don't want you guys to get confused. I'm repeating this thing again that I've just used the boilerplate sample code and I've downloaded it just for this exercise purposes. You can just create any app in any language and you can use Cloud Foundry to deploy that app to Bluemix. So if you write CF help push, you see the different options that I get with the push command, and basically it's the push command through which we will push the code of this app onto Bluemix. So even before that, let me first show you how to log in. So I'll say CF login, and I'll specify the endpoint, And the endpoint of Bluemix is .ng.bluemix.net. This is for the US South space. Sorry. And now it's going to ask me for my username and password, and I could have specified the username and password within the CF login command. You can check out the CF help login to see what other options it has. So I log in through my Bluemix account. I'll enter my password. It will authenticate me, and then it will ask me the organization that I want to deploy this app to. And then it will ask me about which space I want the app to be deployed to. So now it's looking for all the spaces within the org, within the SPS space, and I want to deploy to the experiment space. So I'm logged in to this endpoint, and this is the username through which I've logged in to Bluemix, and this is the organization, and this is the space to which now I will be deploying the application to. So another thing is that since this is a boilerplate application which was already using a Cloudant DB and was already binding to Cloudant DB, and since I've removed that Cloudant DB instance from Bluemix, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create that service. So if you write CF Marketplace, it will list down all the services which are in the Cloud Foundry and the Bluemix Marketplace, and you can just use the name of the service and write the name of the instance of your service, and it would create that service. I'm not going to run CF Marketplace right now because it takes some time to list down all the services, but you can try it on your own. It will take us, a few minutes before all the services list down. So if I write CF create service, and the name of the service is Cloudant NoSQL DB, and then I can write the name of the instance. Sorry, before I write the name of the instance, I need to mention the plan under which I'm going to create the service, because every service comes with a plan. It's either free, shared, a bronze level plan, a gold level plan, and then all of these plans have their own limitations and their own pricing models. So with Cloudant NoSQL DB, Lite is the one which is the free version. It has some limited space, but it would do for this demo. So I'm going to create CF create service, Cloudant NoSQL DB, Lite, and now I'm going to name it. I'm going to name the instance of this app. I'm going to use this has become quite a long name. Let me go with an easier name. So it's creating the service instance. Like I said, using CF Marketplace, you can look at all the services which are available, and using the CF create service CFCS command, just write the name of the service you want to create, the plan under which you want to create the service, and the name that you want to assign to that service. So it says it has created the service instance, and if I go back to my Bluemix, and I am still in the experiments space, and I refresh it, I should be able to see this service in my services. So this service has been created. If you open this service, and you go to connections, it's not connected to any app at the moment. You can go to the plan, and it will tell you that we are using the Lite version, and these are the other plans that we could have used. So coming back, now my service has been created. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to first go to my app, which is in So I'm here where I have the application code line, and then I'm going to push this app. And along with that, I can specify some flags. For example, I don't want to start this app at the moment. I just want to push the code right now because this app has not been binded to this Cloudant DB service that I've just created, and even if I try to start it, it will not be able to start. So right now I don't want it to start. I can specify more flags with it, like I can say I want to change the host name using the -n flag, or I can say that I want to I can also specify the start command using -c, and the start command is for Node.js apps is app.js, which means that this is the starting point of the app. I've already written down this start in my JSON, so I don't even need to you can see the other flag with the push command. And so for the time being, using the simplest possible version of this command, I write push, I write the name of the app that I want to push, and I just say I don't want it to start, I just want to push the code. Oh, sorry, I needed to write CF with it. Every command has CF as a prefix. So it's creating an app by this name in my organization SPS and in the experiment space. And it has created a route for it as well. And it's uploading. So it says I couldn't find the service because this is one of the services that was already mentioned in the code. And since I've not updated the code as yet, so this is the error that was expected. Now, before I actually go and update the code, first I'm going to bind the service. So CF bind service, and then you write the name of the app first. That is the app that you want to bind an application to. And then I write the name of the service to which I want to bind this application to. So the name was Sadia Cloud and NoSQL DB. And this should bind the service. Okay, so since I did not start the application before, now I'm going to just start it. That would do all the So now what it will do is that basically in terms of cloud, what happens is that my app is converted into a droplet, and that droplet is the cloud manager takes this droplet and it puts this droplet on a droplet execution agent, and then the droplet execution agent, or the DEA, actually runs my app on the space. So all that is happening at the moment. And Okay, so my app has started, and it's going to show the route over here as well in a few seconds. In the meantime, I can just go and check if I can see the app over here or not. So this is, sorry, this is the service name. This is the app. It has started. It binded itself to this route. And if I open this route, I should be able to see the same boilerplate, in fact, that I downloaded and pushed through Cloud Foundry. The app is working. It's binded to CloudEnt. This was the sample code that's already written within that app because it was a boilerplate. So it came with a certain code that was already written, and I didn't have to write code for the time being. And so the app is there. It has been pushed to the cloud. It's working, and it is working with this URL. And this was all done through Cloud Foundry. Just to give you guys an idea, let me delete this document. So right now I don't have any new document in CloudEnt. My CloudEnt is empty. And if I go to app.js and I say, let me see, this was sample underscore something. Yeah. So this was just a sample document that was created through the code and then saved to the Clouded DB. I can simply just change that. And sorry, my sample doc, and I can say Command S. So it has saved this file. And I will need to change the manifest.yml to point to the database that I have linked it to, which is this is the name of this database. It would not automatically save my manifest YML. I'll have to do it myself. But I've updated app.js, and I have updated manifest YAML file to kind of link to the new service. And I'm going to push these changes again. So first, it uses this manifest file. So I had to update it manually, and then it will push the changes to the SPS organization and the experiment space. And once those changes are pushed, it's going to restart the app, and I can see the changes in my app. Okay. So there is an issue with the casing when it comes to services. So first it binded the service to my app once again, then it stopped the app, and now it's starting the app. And all the dependencies are being built. Okay, so the app has started. And I can simply just go over here and refresh. and ideally a new document in my database should have been added, and the name of the document is my doc2. So this was this part was related to how to um, upload an app using Cloud Foundry. Now we are going to do the same stuff using Eclipse. So before I do that, I just want to delete this app because I want to use the same app and deploy it through Eclipse. So I've deleted it, and all the services which were associated with it, they are also gone. And if you in fact refresh the route, it would not work because the route has been deleted and there's no app behind it. So going back, now let me do the same thing using Eclipse. So if you want to use the Eclipse IDE and you want to use Node.js, first you need to download the Node.js plugins using the marketplace. And then secondly, what you'll have to do is you'll also have to download and configure the Bluemix plugin into Eclipse so that you can directly deploy and push apps through Eclipse IDE. I'm just going to show you how since it's already there in my environment, I can't install it, but you can just simply search Bluemix from here and the plugin would show up and you can install it through to Eclipse. You need to make sure that you're using Java version 7 and yeah, that's the only thing that you need to make sure. So this is the IBM Eclipse tools for Bluemix for Luna. I'm using Eclipse Luna. So since I've already installed and there's no update, I can't do anything. But if you'll search, you'll see this over here and you can install. Similarly, you can also download the Node.js plugins, and so that you can use Bluemix IDE for Node.js application development. Now, going to go back over here, and so this is my Eclipse, and the first thing that I do is I need to configure the server that I want to use, and to do that I'll go to Eclipse Preferences and I'll go to Servers. Sorry, Runtime Environments. And under IBM, I have IBM Bluemix Runtime. If you have correctly configured the Bluemix plugin within Eclipse IDE, you should see IBM Bluemix Runtime over here. And I'm just going to use this. I'm going to add it over here. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is, let me first get the project that I want to use. So right now I'm just importing. I'm going to use the archive file that I downloaded. You can again create your own project here. I'm just for this session, I'm using the boilerplate that I downloaded. And so I choose the archive and it chooses the project folder name from it, and I say finish. And so I have imported this project in here. And the second thing I need to do is I need to convert this project into, I need to enable Facets Node.js application. So now Eclipse knows this is a Node.js application and it needs to use the Node.js runtime. That's the first thing. Then I need to add servers, and I'm going to use this under IBM. I have IBM Bluemix, and the server runtime environment is IBM Bluemix as well. I can change the name of the server, and I would like to do that because every time you create a server through here, it's always going to be associated with that particular space. You can't change the space. So I would like to keep the name of the space here. And again, just like in the Cloud Foundry, I had to log in. I'm going to log in through this to my Bluemix. So for the IBM Bluemix US South, this is the API endpoint, and this is the same API endpoint that I specified through Cloud Foundry. And again, I need to choose the organization and the space under which I'll be working. And for the timing, I'll not push any app to it. So finish. So my Bluemix server has been started and it's syncing to get all the apps and services I have over there. And once it's synchronized, I'm going to deploy my app through this interface over here to Bluemix. So I'm going to run it as run on server, and I'm going to say Bluemix experiments, and I can just say, okay, so, and now it's publishing this application to my Bluemix, and I can actually ask it to do whatever the changes it's doing to the manifest file directly, and I would not have to manually change my manifest file like the way I did previously. And I can specify the memory limit and any other thing that I want to, and I can say whether I want to start the application on deployment or not. Once again, I don't want to because I have not binded it to a service, and I'm going to just finish. Yes, I do. Okay, yeah, this is the service error, so I'm going to add a service to this. If I double click on it, I can see the app related. So number one, I will add a URL to it. So I can say the URL name is Sadia. And I can say finish. There's something wrong with my configuration, so the window goes at the back. You should all be able to see the window in front. So I've mapped my URL, and the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Cloudant DB service from here. The marketplace loads very slowly, whether we are using Cloud Foundry or whether we are using Eclipse. So I'm going to use this service to add, and I'm going to name it a unique name. Okay, so this would create this service within my experiment space. Once the service has been created, I need to bind it to my application. So basically, I'm doing the same steps that I did on Cloud Foundry. I'm just using an interface to do those same steps now. So now this service has been created. This was the service. So this is the service that has been created. And as yet, I have not binded it to my application. This service is just standalone. And I can drag it here and I can bind it like this. Or I could have gone to the environment variables of the service and I could have done the manual binding through code. I'm going to show you those in a sec. So I'll just save the manifest file so that all these changes are there, and it's writing to the manifest file. You can see all the progress over here, and I am going to push all of these changes back to Bluemix. I can come over here and see these services and apps on my Bluemix interface. So this is the service that I created through Eclipse, and this is the application that I deployed and it's running. This is the memory that I assigned to it through the manifest YAML file, and this is the route on which it's working, and this is the route that I assigned it myself. And I can click over here to see the app working, and it is. And I can even go over here and open the home page within Eclipse to see if it's working or not. And doing the same thing that I did before, and I'm going to just show you very quickly how easily the changes are deployed. I'll delete this document and I'll go back to app.js. I'm going to add a document with a different name. And I'll command save. And I'll start. And this would update the application, and I'll have, sorry. Sorry, I'm putting an apostrophe. So I'll save this, and I'll ask it to stop. I will republish these changes. And once the changes are published, you will be able to see a new doc being added here that was being added through the code. I want to show you very quickly one thing before we end this session. So I did explain this the last time. This overview page shows you the runtime that your application is using, the number of instances. You can increase the number of instances if you're getting more requests for your application and you want to make it more responsive. You can increase or decrease the memory instance. For example, if I decrease the memory from 512 to, let's say, 64, my app would not run because Cloudant is a heavy service and it requires at least 256 MB, if not 128. So I can, from this overview page, I can very easily change these things. As you can see, as the application updates and it starts running on the page, you also see the notifications coming on this side. My application has started to run, it's running, and I did something wrong over here. Okay, so this was the old error. This was related to when I pushed the apostrophe in it. So it should be updating its logs soon. In any case, you can come over to the connections and see the different services that are connected to your application. And if you go to view credentials, you'll see these credentials. And you need to know these credentials when you are accessing the service and binding the service through code. If you're using these interfaces, they would simply update the environment variables of your app. I'm going to show you the environment variables next time because we are kind of running out of time. So if you have any questions related to the current discussion, we are open to questions now.
This is Glenn. I was wondering if there was a cheat sheet to the Eclipse setup steps that you did. You did a number of steps, and a number of them are the right URLs. They seem fairly simple, but I think it's easy to miss a step on the setup. Is there a place that's already listed, like a set of steps to follow to set up the Eclipse?
Yes, there are a number of tutorials that you can follow. What I'll do is that I'll send you all these steps that I followed today in an email, and that way you'll have access to these steps and you hopefully will not miss any. We are also recording this session, so you can play the video too.
Yeah, that would be very helpful.
Okay.
I have a question about the Eclipse also. You used Eclipse Luna, but the latest one is Oxygen. Did it matter? Was there a reason that you couldn't use the latest, or what?
No, this is an old installation, and since I usually do not use Eclipse, so I'm just using the old version, but you can use the new one. As long as it supports Java 7, Java SE 7.
You're using the Eclipse for JavaScript?
We can. What we did was we did download the Node.js plugin for Eclipse, and we can use the Node.js plugin. But right now, we usually use Cloud Foundry or Git in our current development environment, and we tend to use Eclipse. You know, we don't usually use Eclipse. It's heavy.
Okay.
But you can use the latest version. And in order to do Node.js development, you'll have to download the Node.js plugin from the Eclipse marketplace. And the second thing you'll need is the Bluemix plugin.
Okay. But do you have to use the Eclipse IDE for Java or Eclipse IDE for JavaScript, or does it matter and you just get the plugin?
It does not matter. You can skip the plugin. That would help you in debugging and those kind of things. Any other questions?
So the Cloud Foundry steps you use, I was tracking them as you were going through that. Could you include the list of steps you use for the Cloud Foundry push? I know they're in your app, but that's a good example. But you know, you went through the Cloud Foundry CLI login and worried about going back and making sure I know where to find like my APG, NG, Bluemix, net URL, or other names or URLs or format.
Sure. I will send you an email with all the steps, both for Cloud Foundry and for Eclipse. You just need to remember the 3-4 basic steps. One, you need to know if you're with the US South region, or you have taken the the Bluemix UK subscription or the Australian one. These are the 3 possibilities, and you need to know their API endpoints. So when you log in through either Cloud Foundry or through Eclipse, first you need to specify the API endpoint so it knows which region you're targeting. The second thing that you'll need to enter is your username and password, the credentials to your Bluemix account. And then once you have done these 2 steps, the third step would be that you need to choose your organization and your space, whether you're going through Cloud Foundry or you're going through Eclipse. Once you have all of these figured out, these 4 things, you'll just pick up your application, and then you'll just push those changes out to Bluemix, to your space. But we will send you an email with all the steps. Any other question? Okay, guys, so we'll meet next time. In the next part, we are going to cover DevOps. We'll see how to do the same thing that we did through CLI and through this Cloud Foundry CLI and through Eclipse. We'll figure out the same steps and how to do them through DevOps. And we'll also see other features we get with DevOps, like Git, and you can even incorporate Scrum and the build and deploy pipeline that comes with it and all that great stuff. We'll cover all that next week. And till then, if you have any question, you can send it to Kurutalen, who has sent you the invite to this webinar series. And I'll make sure that I send you all these steps, hopefully by tomorrow.
Okay, great.
Great. Okay, thank you guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.